Hey folks, Curtis Stone here. We're back with another video exploring all the states and provinces of North America and looking at them through the lens of homesteading and what makes good places to consider homesteading and where you want to avoid and everything in between. Today we're going to look at Indiana. And we've done Ohio, I think we've done Illinois, we've done some areas around here. I think we did Michigan a long time ago, so kind of making our way through. And Indiana is one of those states, just like it's almost just like Illinois as far as the topography is concerned. There's a lot of people that live in this state. Indianapolis is a pretty big city, and you're still kind of touching the edge of Chicago. So, there's a lot of population density up in this area. Fort Wayne is a, mid-sized town, and there's just a lot of little towns that aren't that little. They're medium-sized towns, and everything is split up into sections of land, 660 acre sections. That's what all these little squares are. And so this is the state is, for the most part, what we call peri-urban. There's, you've got urban, then you've got suburban, and then you've got peri-urban, and then you've got rural, right? Rural are the places that there's less concrete, less infrastructure. I think there's a direct correlation between concrete and freedom. The more concrete you have, the more tyranny you experience, as we saw during the COVID show. And it's the same across the board. So generally speaking, the more rural you are, the more free you are. Now, that's not to say that you can't find great peri-urban areas for homesteading. They do exist. There's no doubt about it. But often you're at the whim of who's around you directly. Is that, you can find great peri-urban areas to live in if you got good neighbors. But if you're surrounded by a bunch of Karens, then that can really spoil your homesteading experience. So that's kind of the deal with Indiana in general. And, I would just say overall, avoid this entire part of the state. And if you've driven through here, even if you've flown over Indiana, which I have more times than I can count, you can just see, especially if you're doing it at nighttime, if you get out of O'Hare Airport and you're, say, flying south and you're going overnight, you can just see ... when you look out the window of the airplane. And so it's populated. There's a lot of people everywhere. And so I just find, generally speaking, the southern part of the state towards the Hosier National Forest is going to be where you're going to be. Much of Kentucky, I don't know if we've done Kentucky yet, but it's a great state. Lots of green, lot less peri-urban stuff. And so along with all these peri-urban areas, just come infrastructure, utilities, farming, things that are a risk to you in more ways than one. So let's look at this damn thing here. So let's look at our no-go zones. I wouldn't be too worried about, we put down a blanket 50 miles, but I wouldn't be too worried about being within this Bloomington zone if you were up in these hills. Same down here. I wouldn't be too worried about, being close to Louisville if you're up in the mountains and you're in the trees out of the way. Same with Cincinnati. You could get up here. Up here, you might find some decent zones. I would just avoid the entire northern half of the state entirely. Let's look at some good areas. Now, the nice thing about Indiana in general is that you do get a good amount of annual precipitation because you're now in that temperate zone in the United States, especially the further you get to Kentucky and West Virginia. There's a lot of annual rain. You get snow. There's a lot of precipitation here, so we got lots of green, so that's good. But here's a little gem of an area based around this town, Rockville. Lots of smallish towns. And there's some peri-urban areas in here, but you can see that, we've got little pockets of cool rural areas. And sometimes where rural and peri-urban meet are interesting opportunities for cultural experiences where you get like really cool hip towns and stuff like that. where you don't have to be close to the big cities, but you got enough small towns where you can get all the amenities you need to service and build your homestead in there. And so here we've got, what do we got here? 55 acres up here. Let's check this puppy out. Yeah, this is great. This is great. Private access in. I don't see a pond in here. Usually I like to see ponds, but that's okay. We got lots of fields. You know, we got so much annual rain in Indiana, especially in a region like this, that you can build a pond very easily. You can harvest rainwater off your buildings, and they're probably, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a rural kind of county water service here. So you might already have one source of water here. You could easily stack in two by getting some rainwater capture and then maybe build a pond. You could find a place to build a pond in here real easily by just looking at the topography. And you could shed water off your road. So you could, yeah, look at this. So we got a slight slope down this way. If you were to ditch this road on the high side, it would probably, you might come contour or level down. You might want to put a pond. You could put a pond here or maybe here. And you could capture a lot of water there fairly easily. Snowmelt as well. This is already a natural riparian zone coming through this. A riparian zone is a green area that water moves through either seasonally or year round. And that's a riparian zone. So a pond might do well there. But the nice thing about this property is we've got, I think this is the house. It's cool that you got a building like a shop down below, so you could separate some field production from the house, but you could easily have kitchen garden here, greenhouses. You know, a property like this could do a lot of different things. Could be a homestead, could be a farmstead, could be a market farm. You could do some pastured animals on here. There's a variety of different stuff you could do on a property like this. So that's that 55 acres. Let's go and look at 40 acres a little further south in our southern green zone. Oh, this is cool. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's blank slate. More or less, there's some ramshackle stuff, but we got a beautiful pond. Best place to build a house would be, you know, right along here. Totally private from the neighbors. Looking south, you got fields. You got tons of trees. You got another lake right over here, which maybe you can have access to. Yeah, this is totally private. Beautiful. Chris's cabin at his lake. Look at that. White Oak Lake. You got a couple lakes that you're close to. That's a banger. I mean, you got to build it all, right? And as I have said many times, building it all is expensive, but then you can do it right. Generally, we encourage people to look for homestead properties that have infrastructure, but sometimes infrastructure is so poorly placed that you're better off building it. But if you're going to build a homestead, be prepared to spend and be prepared to take some years to do it, whether you're doing it by yourself or not. If you're doing it by yourself, take 10 years. If you got trades guys and you're doing some work yourself, you might be somewhere like I am. I'm year 3 on my homestead build, and I'm hoping to be moving into the house this fall or this winter. But 3 years, right? And I've done a lot of work myself, but I still have trades to help me on all the things that I can't do. And so it takes time. Keep that in mind. So here's another 100-acre parcel in this further south green zone we're looking at. Similar situation. Wow, this is awesome. This is super ideal. This is an A-rated homestead right here. Private access in, nice straight driveway, turnaround, loop around driveway there, which is always nice. And then you can add infrastructure onto that as you see fit. That pond is amazing. It's got a little dock on it. This is like a proper pond. Look at that. And there's your dam on the road, which is perfect. That's great. That probably just spills over here. You got everything you want on here. You got, homestead like this, you don't need to do much. Maybe you're doing some house renos and adding some greenhouses for your farm, but this is more or less a turnkey homestead. Tons of private green space. This is amazing. This is kind of what you see in Kentucky. You see places like this all the time. Kentucky just has a lot more trees. But this is cool because you're in the boonies, but you're kind of close to a little town. So that gives you all the things you need. So Yeah, this is a great homestead. But yeah, that's Indiana, folks. So if you guys want to learn more about me doing this kind of stuff, want to see me teach you how to use Google Earth, and if you're interested in our Homestead Accelerator program, where we link active listings. None of these properties that we look at in these videos are active listings, but if you want to see active listings, check out the Homestead Accelerator. There's a link in the show notes here that takes you to a video that gives you a little lesson on how to do some of the stuff yourself in Google Earth. And you can take a course where I can show you how to do this stuff in depth. And you can watch me do around 50 different property reviews in zones 3 through 9. So pretty much the entire continental US and much of Canada. And you can learn how to do this stuff yourself, because this is going to save you time when you're looking for your own homestead. So check that out. That'll be in the show notes. If you guys liked it, smash the like. Let me know where you want me to go next. All right, we'll see you in the next one.